Alright, I just went 4-0 at my locals. Two of my matches were just straight up 2-0s, which was even cooler. I was using a deck I haven't used a ton. I played it last week and this week, and it was Memento. That deck seems to be used a lot lately, so we're going to go ahead and just go through the deck super fast. 3 Darkblade and a Rhoda, just another copy of him, because he goes into Anguish, which is the Stratos of the deck, which is normally used to grab Tetsuno Toshigo, which has a Foolish Burial, like 2 to 3 on him, which is very, very good. And then the deck gets weird because everyone goes into a bunch of 1-ofs. We have Sleepy, Gaddock, Mace, Goblin, Horned Dragon, and Tekelica. Now, this is your boss monster, a free body, and 4 very, very important utility pieces for the deck. This deck is very strange in the way that it is kind of combo-y, but is more of a awkward toolbox with what it does. Whether you go first or second depends, or influences a lot of what you're doing. So all of these 1-ofs are actually incredibly important and get used multiple times in a game a lot of the time. Then we have 3 Bone Party, 3 Fusion, 1 Field Spell, and Cranium Burst is the build I am on. I am not on the Fracture Dance, even though it's also very good. At my locals, they seem to care more about on-field monster negates than they do about pops. And we've already got pops built in through the rest of the engine. So these here won't explain too much of what all of the rest of it does. I've explained the guy that summons the Stratos which grabs a guy that foolishes, and that's all we'll go about there at the moment. So I'll go ahead and show off a quick combo in a second. Instead, we'll go off to the non-engine, which mine is more awkward than most people's. We are on 2 Fenrir, because he's a good card. He non-bows quite a bit with our Tatsuno Toshigo, but he sometimes is necessary. It's for very awkward hands, and also for another reason I'll explain in a second. We have 3 Ghost Bell, 3 Ash, 3 Imperm, because these hand traps are very impactful into my local meta. The Ghost Bell ends up coming up far more than I felt like it would when I started including it in all my decks. Then we have 2 Crossout, which is good for all of these cards. A lot of people at my locals like to at least side Ghost Bell and main or side Ash. Everyone's maining Imperm. A lot of these cards can completely stop our strats. Ghost Spell is less important, but is still good against us, but Imperm and Ash both just completely stop us, and there's multiple people that like to bring cash just on a weekly basis. So I like having the opportunity to cross out the Fenrir if it's part of their end board. And then the final non-engine is Vesper Gursu, which is a weird card. This could be 3 of anything else, same as with the Fenrirs being swapped out. Just any other non-engine, but this card only came up once when I played it yesterday, and it mattered. This card I included because it has a lot of weird board clearing usage. All the effects on it are a little strange, but are good. Because if your life gets halved and you cleared your opponent's entire board of monsters, it's fine. This card isn't broken or anything, but it makes a lot of people think on the spot because no one has thought about how to play this yet. And it came up yesterday. I activated against my opponent, who was on Abyss Actor, and it did exactly what I wanted it to. He looked at his board and took like a full minute trying to decide, what do I even want to end on? What do I want to do? I don't know what I need to leave here. And it was great for me. He ended up staying on 2 and banishing his entire hand face down. Because he was on Abyss Actor, his original thought process was, oh yeah, but I could just draw 5 again, but he ended up getting rid of the thing that would have given him the field spell to allow him to draw the 5. So it made people misplay was the idea of playing it. It did come up once, and it actually mattered, so that was pretty fun. Then we'll go to the extra, ignore all of my mismatching sleeves. We are on 2 Memento Mictlan Tekelica, Creation King, 1 Twin Dragon, which I feel like needs to be bumped up, so I need to change something around a little. It only mattered in one matchup where I thought it was going to get ripped by a Kashtira Unicorn, but luckily my opponent did not know my combos, did not know how the deck worked exactly, and ended up taking the access code instead. And then 1 Guardian Chimera, which comes up all the time. This package here comes up less, but it gets played a lot by people from what I've seen, and I like the engine as well. Just assembled to make off your 2 level 1s into a Downard, into a Zeus. Pretty simple. Anima came up all the time. I used him to take an opponent's card, and then used him to go into a Dark. Dark snatched their Soul of Rage, that went into access code, won the game. We have IP and SP for the basic combo there. A Cross Sheep, which is iffy on how it comes up, but it is useful sometimes. We got Dark. Access code, which is just there for if we have no other real play, if we're not going into full engine, we can try and get 2 bodies on board, one of them being a Dark, go into Dark, take a Link to just go, it's for going second plays. Same with Underworld Goddess. And then Appaloosa is for our follow-up plays. Against some matchups, instead of making the Little Knight, I would rather go into an Appaloosa, just have the multiple negates. I'm going into her a lot on generic going first boards with my combos, because having 5 on-field monster negates and also 3 to 4 monster negates in general is very good. And then the side monsters, we have 2 Kurakara. I love this card. I would up it to 3, but I just couldn't find my 3rd one, so my fault. Very good. Like I said, there's a lot of cash. This card comes up all the time at my locals. 3 Droll, just because it's good against some decks, not against others. 3 Cosmic for the Nightmare Thrones, the opening of the Spirit Gates, is the Kashtira Births, the anything, you know, this is used to stop strats. Same with the Duster and the Heavy Storms, just generic board breakers. We have a Called By here, just to add in. Since we're only on 2 crossout, this is kind of like the 3rd crossout, just a little different. And then we have 3 Evenly. Once again, incredible board breaker. Going in the main, our only real board breaker is the Vesper Garsu, so this is just preparation for whatever deck we might end up fighting, and so far it's been treating me pretty well. I think I like the side a lot. I don't think there's much I would change there. So let's get into some combos, just some simple rundown of how the deck works. I've been using a bread and butter combo that pretty much everyone seems to be using. It is start off with Darkblade. Not that one. Start off with Darkblade. His on-summon effect is good, but you only need it really for going second plays or for follow-up turns, which I'll explain later. His main effect you're using is this effect to pop a Memento himself and go into a copy of Anguish here. Anguish will activate on summon to add Tatsuno Toshigo, which goes to hand. And now, since you only have Mementos or no monsters at all, you're able to activate Tatsuno Toshigo, summon him to the field. This is where we use his effect to pop any guy, and then send monsters with levels equaling up to the level that you sent. So we pop a level 5, and we send both of our level 1s and our Sleepy. So Sleepy, Mace, Goblin. So right now our gray, which I'll put over here, is Darkblade, Tatsuno, Sleepy, Mace, Goblin. Here we activate the effect of Anguish to pop and summon what we target, which is going to be Mace. It has to be a level 2 or lower. This is the point where if we have been interrupted with up till now, we are in a rough spot unless we had Bone Party or something to help prevent the Imperms Veilers from hitting us. But this effect here targets Mace. We go ahead, we pop Anguish, summon Mace, activate Mace, which is pop a Memento and search any Memento card. So we pop her, grab Mementotlan Fusion, and I'm sure you've noticed at this point we have 6 names engraved. That's about to change. We activate Fusion. We get rid of the 3 that we have used already in most cases. It can differ depending on what you've already got in hand, maybe. But getting rid of the 3 that have been used is the safest play. So we shuffle back Mace, Witch, and Tatsuneo to fuse into Memento Mictlan Tekutlika, Creation King, who now, on summon, is going to Foolish Burial 3 from the deck and or extra deck, so we send another copy of himself, a copy of Tekutlika from the main deck, and Gaddock. So all three of these will hit grave. The effect of Gaddock is going to activate because he was set by a monster effect, so he gets to target and add something, or gets to summon to the field. So he summons, and now he activates on field to target something in grave, add it back to hand. We want to target Sleepy, add him back. And from here, it doesn't matter whether you do this before or after. I prefer to do it before, just to be safer, I guess. Doesn't make a real difference, but you can banish Combined King to the grave, or banish him from the grave. Put him all the way up here. Search your deck for a copy of Memento Mictlan. So now this is in your hand as well. At this point, it doesn't matter if Mictlan is on the field yet. I like to put it out, but you can put it out a little after, which I'll go ahead and do just for the sake of simplicity. You can activate Sleepy in hand. He activates to summon himself if you have popped any Memento monster during this turn. So you summon, then you activate his effect on field to fusion. So we will take these two, put them into the grave, and summon Mementotlan Twin. From here, we activate his on-summon effect. It pops one Memento, adds 2 monsters from deck to hand. So he will get popped. And then most of the time, it doesn't really matter what you grab as long as you grab Horned Dragon. And then, typically, I'm grabbing Mace back. So now from here, we go ahead and we activate the effect of Twin Dragon because he has been destroyed to summon a level 6 or lower from our grave. We will summon Sleepy. And now is when you want to put your Mictlan out on the board. So now that Mictlan is out, if a Memento is destroyed, we can target it and summon a less level than it monster from our graveyard. So now, we go ahead, we activate Mementotlan Fusion, banishing it from the grave to pop a Memento, add a spell trap. We will destroy Sleepy. And we will add Bone Party. And in a new chain, we get chain 1 Sleepy because it was destroyed by a Memento effect to send from deck to the grave any Memento card. Actually, it's if it was destroyed by any effect, so it's much better. If your opponent pops it, you get it too. And chain 2 is Memento Mictlan to summon a less than level 3 from our grave. So we'll send, or we'll summon Goblin, have that body on board, and we'll send Cranium Burst to the grave. From here, if you have another way to get another body, you can use the Goblin. I am typically not using the Goblin because I'm in a spot where I kind of want to be. But we are at our major setup. We now get to go summon Horned Dragon. These two are going to link into IP Masquerena just to have her out. She's very, very good for our end board. On our opponent's turn, it lets us do so much. And from here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 names engraved. So you go ahead, and without activating, without even needing to really say to your opponent what you're doing, you get to just take these cards and shuffle them all back in. Twin going back to the extra, of course. And the rest going back into deck to summon Tekutlika. Now, we have almost nothing in our grave now, but this has all been off 1 card, and we plussed a card. So from here, you set this Bone Party, go to end phase, activate Mictlan, set Cranium Burst, which turns Tekutlika into 5 negates, and we still have Mace plus whatever else was in our starting hand in our hand, and we pass turn. There are multiple ways to play from here. On your opponent's turn, in draw, I immediately flip this up every time, let it go into in resolve, go to open game state. If they don't want to do anything and attempt to move again, that is where we have the option to Bone Party. With Bone Party, you can pop the Mace from your hand, and then summon from your deck a different name. So we get to summon Anguish, activate Anguish effect, you get to grab Sleepy, activate Sleepy, summon Sleepy, effect Diffuse, go back into the Twin Dragon again, effect Twin Dragon, it is going to pop and grab 2, grab, a lot of the times it's Goblin and a Dark Blade, just to have follow-up for the next turn, and also the Goblin. If you want to not grab the Key Mace as part of last turn's combo, you can grab it here and have a Snatch Steal on your opponent's turn as long as you have Tekutlaka and the Goblin to protect. But then from here, we activate Twin to summon, activate Micklin to summon. At this point, it doesn't really matter, just any 2, so 2 more bodies, and at this point you have most likely 4 cards in hand plus the 2 from your combo, as well as a Masquerena into an Appaloosa or an IP Little, or a SP Little Knight, or you could even, however many bodies you have left on board can be used for Creation King. He has a pop targeting these and your opponent's cards, pop all of them. Main deck Tekutlaka has a when your opponent does something, summon another body, which is another free body on board. It's an insane 1-card combo. From the point where I grabbed the Bone Party instead of the Bone Party, if you want, you can get the second copy of MEMENTO Fusion, which is where the Guardian Chimera comes in. But a lot of the time it is you either have one of these already or you have other cards you need and you end up searching it through those means. But the deck is crazy. That is the bread and butter combo I've been using, but since these all interact in the ways they do, you can just keep going, and it is so much fun. I'll probably be playing it for a little while, and hope to see you guys next time.